So for those that haven't heard of COG or Access North Texas, we'll go over a bit about the plan itself and hopefully really engage you all on what are some of the needs in Hunt County, especially for individuals with disabilities, seniors, and lower income populations looking for access to job opportunities. This is part of one of our federal requirements under the FAST Act, but really our goal here is to work and coordinate with all of you all to identify the needs in our region and what we can do to improve transit, even with the limited funding that's available for transit. So really the goal for today is introduce you all to the plan itself, to some of the coordination activities that will be happening in the upcoming months. And if you all have feedback today, we'll go ahead and gather that from you all, but definitely there's opportunities in the future, both virtual and having a follow-up meeting with us to kind of share some specific needs from your organization, clients, or individuals that you work with. So we'll start with COG introduction. What is Access North Texas? We'll go through some existing public transit services in Hunt County. We'll have a discussion and then share some feedback opportunities for you all. And then finally, pretty much what is our timeline for this plan? So Access North Texas is a plan that we manage for the North Central Council of Governments, which is a voluntary association of local governments established to assist local governments in planning for common needs, cooperating for mutual benefit, and coordinating for our sound regional development. There are various departments at COG. This includes community services, emergency preparedness, environment and development, public affairs, research and information services, transportation, and workforce development. Each department provides assistance to local governments in their respective area of expertise. Our department, the transportation department in particular, plans for both highways and transit. Our plans range from short-term, such as Access North Texas, which is really a 3 to 5 year plan, to long-range plans, which are planning for activities over the next 20 years. We are also the lead agency for developing and implementing the Regional Public Transportation Plan, which in our region, we call it the Access North Texas Plan. So as I mentioned, this is a federal and state requirement, but why are we interested in doing a regional public transportation coordination plan? Really, it's just a way to plan public transportation services and human service transportation. So really helping identify duplication in our region and generate efficiencies so we can support increased levels of service for individuals that need public transportation. And through this process, we'll identify what transportation services are available and identify additional transportation providers, both in the region and in specific counties such as Hunt. Most importantly about Access North Texas, it's truly an assessment of transportation needs for older adults, individuals with disabilities, and lower income individuals. And it helps prioritize recommendations for the limited federal and state funding that's available. It includes working with disadvantaged individuals and their advocates to improve transportation options. And again, because of limited funding available, it helps prioritize what are the needs and what type of projects could get funded through Access or through the 5310 project funds from FTA. So just kind of on a high level, Access North Texas in itself isn't a detailed feasibility study. It's not focused on highways, and it's really focused on coordinating with individuals, gathering local input, and working with local organizations and leaderships that can help guide the recommendations and efforts for the next 3 to 5 years. So in Hunt County in particular, the main service provider is Senior Center Resources and Public Transit, so SCRIPT, and they cover the whole county. I really we actually so we have Danny on the call as well, so feel free to share more information, or if I correct me if I'm wrong. But so currently SCRIPT really just provides demand response services throughout Hunt County, available Monday to Friday from 7 to 7 with various price points. So if you're traveling within city limits, it's $2 one way, $3 to travel outside of the city limits, but within Hunt County. And then they also offer a $34 round trip per person for those traveling from Hunt County to Dallas. And there are other options available in Hunt County, but I think definitely they're very targeted. So DART Vanpool for those that are traveling long distances and need to get to work. There's also opportunities for the Texas Kidney Healthcare Program, the VA North Texas Healthcare System Travel Benefits Program, and Veteran Transportation Service. So really just focusing on really what services are there so that we can help identify gaps. But I'll pause there for a minute, and if Danny or anyone else wanted to chime in on additional services that they're aware of in the county, we are also collecting this information via email. So this is just on a high level what we found in our region in Hunt County. We do have Star Transit out in the border in Rockwall and Kaufman as well. So another resource that is available to Hunt County and to the region as a whole is the MyRide North Texas project. So COG actually was awarded a grant from the FTA, the Federal Transit Administration, to implement a regional mobility management program. So this is what we're calling the MyRide North Texas. In the past couple of months, we implemented a 1-800 line so that individuals can reach personalized travel navigation services. So this not only includes public transportation options, but also private providers. So individuals can call this number and they can get travel counseling on the regional transportation options. They can get assistance on applications for transportation programs, and then just receive general information. This has been one method that we've in recent months have started collecting transportation gaps. So if individuals call and aren't able to connect to a provider, we receive that information as well. And as part of this initiative, we also implemented the regional mobility managers meeting. So these are quarterly meetings with mobility managers in our region and discuss transit-related topics. This has really been helpful during COVID, as transit providers have had to modify their service and try to find ways to provide transit options for individuals in a safe manner. And if any of you are interested in participating in these regional mobility managers meetings, we would be your contacts as well. All right. So in Hunt County, there hasn't been much change in planning studies since the last Access North Texas update. And with the changes in demographics and census numbers, this might be something to consider in the upcoming years. So in Hunt County, there's 4 main studies that include public transportation as a component. So the first 2 we have are the Comprehensive Plan 2025 by the City of Greenville and the West Greenville Small Area Plan. So the Comprehensive Plan highlights public transportation as one of the services that the city currently does not have, but it's desired by residents. And then the West Greenville Small Area Plan mentions that really public transportation would be driven by population density and the personal desires for such service. The COG also did a plan in 2012, which is more focused on the rail visibility of rail. And at that time, it identified that rail visibility Rail was not feasible at the time, but it may as a county grows and develops. And this might be a need in the upcoming years, again, as people are having an increased need to reach other parts of their region. And the last plan we have is Texas A&M's University Commerce Campus Master Plan, which mentions public transit in relation to pedestrian safety, so which is a primary goal of their plan. All right, so that's really kind of what the landscape of public transit is in Hunt County right now. What we're hoping to get, or hoping to coordinate with you all, is how can we improve access to public transit? But before we go into some discussion questions, I'm gonna send out a poll just to gather some information on who is joining us today. So you should see 3 questions. Really just what type of organization do you work with? What's your primary area of concern, which you can choose multiple answers. And then what kind of targeted implementation plans would have the greatest impact on transit? So, you should be able to see the results, but I'll go through them because I might have trouble. So today we do have a transit provider, we have a nonprofit organization, social service organization, and an other. Everyone is definitely agrees that one of the primary concerns should be improve awareness to available services, followed by funding new service and increasing the coordination between agencies. Honorable mentions include enhancing the user's experience and creating a targeted implementation plan. What kind of targeted implementation plans would have the greatest impact on transit? A step-by-step implementation for new services, documentation of best practices, and documentation of specific need, followed by establishing a cost-sharing structure and agreement. Well, thank you all. This is definitely going to be useful as we start developing new strategies for Hunt County. So these are questions that we do have in a survey that we'll talk a little bit more towards the end of the presentation, but we wanted just to see kind of what everyone's experience has been, either on an individual basis or with your clients or with the individuals that you work with at your organization. So in the chat box, if you can, go ahead and share if in the last 6 months, have you or anyone you know missed any trips due to the lack of transportation? So do you know someone, or did you personally were not able to make a medical appointment, a grocery trip, make a work trip because certain transportation wasn't available? So definitely student options are limited. Definitely. So this, if, if anyone's able to elaborate, maybe what kind of trips are usually the ones that are needed, both for students or the people that your organizations work with? Doctor's appointments. Yeah, so on a regional level, medical trips are usually the main trips that are needed for individuals. Is that something? It sounds like that's something that rings true in Hunt County as well. And yes, the connection does provide trips for doctor appointments. I'll move on to the next question. So what may keep you or your client from getting where they need to go? Is it, are there limited options for transportation? Is it, I think someone mentioned after business hours transportation. So filling those time gaps. Are there any other issues that may arise? Okay, so I think there's discussion on maybe miscommunication or reliability with current transportation options, which we know we've seen kind of across the region as our region grows and needed capacities need. Yeah. Lack of knowledge of available options definitely is something that could help someone connect to transportation options. Okay, so we do have a question on potential services that would be most appealing. So we do, there's different transportation modes. Most common is the on-demand service. So somebody will call and schedule a ride and get picked up at their scheduled time. But are there other transportation options that people would be interested in seeing in Hunt County? So this can be small scale, large scale, connecting to making regional connections. This can be the small scale projects. Would it be helpful for students at the university, whether it's a circular or maybe connecting from within the county, connecting individuals to different locations? Okay. Getting transportation options from Dallas to Commerce. So more of those longer inter-county trips. Yes, someone agrees that transportation to neighboring counties and the after business hour options. So I think this question may have already been answered in the comments earlier, but if anybody wanted to add, what is the best way to enhance your client's transportation experience? So in the comments, I saw increase awareness of options, better communication with existing transportation options. But if there's anything else to add. And then how can transit service be improved within your county? And then, yes, and then someone actually shared that Script actually does have a Dallas to Commerce transportation. So definitely, I think definitely being able to make available options a lot more visible. And then safe transportation for victims of abuse, sexual assault, or hospitals in a safe space. Again, especially after business hours. So the extension of service beyond the Monday to Fridays as well. Okay. Well, this is really helpful for us. And it is something that we see across our region is that really when transportation projects are implemented, it's usually on a small scale. And then as people are more aware of transportation options, that's usually the biggest need after that is, how do we service individuals who might have needs after, regular business hours, need to go to the grocery store, might need to, they don't work a 9 to 5 job and need to make those job appointments as well, or interviews. All right, so in 2018, there were 5 strategies that were identified for Hunt County. Definitely wanted to get feedback from you all to gather if these still make sense for Hunt County. Transportation has changed in the past 4 years, 3 to 4 years, so it might be that we need, there's something that's happened that we're not included in these strategies. So for Hunt County, the county-specific strategies were improving awareness of available public transportation services and how to use them, create and maintain a coordinating committee to discuss ongoing transportation needs, improve regional connections to Dallas County and Collin County, particularly for medical appointments and work opportunities, continue to explore partnerships with nonprofits, private companies, and others to increase service within the county, and then reducing scheduling pickup windows. So for these, I will mention that our goal for the next update is to not just identify strategies, but how can we measure success of these strategies? So something to keep in mind as we look forward to the next 3 years is not only do we want to include these strategies in the plan, but provide suggestions and recommendations on how successful implementation of these strategies look like. Because we know that we weren't able to check off the box for every single strategy across the region in the past couple of years. So we want to make sure that for the update, this upcoming update and future updates, we can kind of measure that success and see what was actually accomplishable in that period. So some questions to think about is really, with changes in transportation, do these still make sense? Are there gaps in transportation that are not addressed in these strategies? And again, the feedback you all have provided in the comments is super useful, and we'll include those as we consider new strategies for the county. Then are there any other ideas on how to improve public transportation in Hunt County? So we'll definitely send this presentation in the follow-up email so you can provide feedback that way. Also, we can do a follow-up conversation. the question is there an app? So there is, not that I'm aware of an app to book rides in Hunt County, but that's definitely something that we can consider recommending in the plan update. Do we consider technology options? Because we do have a mobility on demand work group working with different transit providers on how do we create a network in our region, and then share some of the technology projects that other transportation providers have been exploring. Nancy Group has been working on an app, but it is still in development, it seems. So definitely we'll be collecting all of this information and putting it in the plan update. Yes, we can definitely update the strategies, the wording in them as well, whether to expand or to be more specific. So definitely include that. All right, so other ways to provide feedback besides just emailing us your comments is we have a survey online. So we highly encourage you all to share this transportation survey with individuals that are having a hard time with transportation, with your clients, with your neighbors, with your residents and riders. So we do have the survey both in Spanish and English. And then for those that maybe are dealing personally with public transportation, but you work with individuals that do, we have an agency survey, and we'll share that with the meeting notes for those registered today. If you have other organizations in your community that could provide valuable feedback, definitely encourage them to take the survey. It's pretty short. When we took it, it took us about 10 minutes. So we're really just trying to get a big picture view of what some transportation needs are. We highly encourage you all to share it. One of our biggest gaps in the last plan update was that we didn't get many responses from the surrounding counties around Dallas and Fort Worth. So we're really making a push to include more respondents from Hunt County, from more of these more rural counties as well. We also have the Map Your Experience tool. So this is actually a tool developed by one of our other teams here at COG. And you can provide comments on specific bus routes, bus stops, transportation needs. So instead of doing a survey, you can write a short paragraph. And the really neat thing about this tool is that we will be collecting the transit data for the upcoming months, but it will also get included into our long-term planning document. So as I mentioned before, Access North Texas we're looking at short-term, next 3 to 5 years, versus the Map Your Experience information will go to our long-term plan, which is really looking at transportation planning for the next 20 years or so. So definitely encourage you all. It's pretty easy to use. You can even access it on your cell phone. And then our timeline. So right now we're just starting public outreach, and we'll be going through public outreach until mid-July. And at that point, we'll close our survey, close our meetings, and start analyzing the data and creating maps so that we can develop strategies and draft chapters for those involved in Hunt County. Definitely share the draft of that so you can provide additional feedback. And then we'll take the whole document to public comment. So there'll be definitely an opportunity at the end before it goes to our boards to review the document and provide any additional feedback. And then we are expecting the plan to be approved and released in the spring of 2022. Yes, 2022. So we still have a couple of months before it's finalized. And then someone just mentioned there is an error on their survey, so we'll fix that up, and it should hopefully be working by the time we send over the meeting notes, if not sooner. And then if you wanted to contact us or just send some general questions, you can reach out on Access North Texas at nct.org. You can also email us personally. My name is Gypsy, and my email is just ggavia@nct.org. You can also reach Rachel, who is the support for today's meeting, but also Vivian and Dora are part of our mobility management team and are also available to answer any questions you might ask. And with that, I wanted to make sure we have, yes, and we will be sending the PowerPoint along with notes for the meeting to those registered, and it will be posted online on our website as well. So if you wanted to share with somebody, we do have another meeting on Thursday, so they can join us on Thursday, or they can just check out the website and still get the information. So I know virtual meetings are definitely a little harder to ask questions on, but I'm not seeing anything else in the chat box. So we'll give it another minute. And really, thank you all for joining us today. This is really just the start of the process. So we look forward to working with you all in the upcoming weeks, whether it is sharing more information on what's going on in Hunt County, getting more information from you all about updates in Hunt County as well. And we'll stay in touch. Definitely, if you all have any questions or need resources, we're here to provide that as well. I will go back to the Access North Texas slide. We can send over the flyer. It's a pretty new initiative that we had traditionally been live in Dallas and Fort Worth that we are just now expanding to the region. So we'll share the flyer as well, but you can just visit the website, myridetx.org, and phone number is available on there. People will reach a live person, and really what this project, or the people on this project have been helping on is collecting all the different transportation options in our region. So it's for right now, this has been our database of information. So if you need any assistance or are trying to find additional resources, you can reach out to us, but you can also contact one of our travel navigators through this project. Well, thank you all, and we'll stay online for a couple of more minutes in case anybody wants to ask any questions, but we'll definitely send over the materials.